So welcome everyone. So today I'm reviewing Scandal episode 516, The Miseducation of Susan Ross, which is pretty much a play by the famous album by Lauryn Hill, one of my all-time favorite albums, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So anyways, the episode begins with the Republican debate. And Sally Lanson is hosting it. So you got Melly up there, you got Hollis, and you got Susan. Now you got Hollis being his regular misogynist self. Pretty much he's taking a playbook by Trump. He's really pretty much, this is just Trump too, okay? And he's playing it to the T. You know, the misogynist, the charismatic, the jokes, not really taking things seriously, the businessman, rich businessman. And you got Melly on the other side trying to counterattack him everywhere you go. She could, I wouldn't say she's Hillary Clinton, or maybe she is, maybe she's calling for Eunora, probably. I didn't like her anyways. But anyways, there's Melly trying to counterattack Hollis, and then there is Susan Ross, who's standing there and doing and saying absolutely nothing. I mean, she's pretty much just lost her mind, and she's still affected by the fact David cheated on her. Anyways, let's go back to the actual debate. So Hollis is, looking at Melly, he's attacking her, and then he goes to point and says, you know what, I don't understand what you're doing here. You can't even control your husband. And second of all, how do you have your ex-husband's ex-mistress running your campaign? And Melly is like, listen, I've got somebody good running my campaign, and I am not my husband. And so he's like, Sally asks a question about gun control. And Hollis is like, well, you have a president who said he was going to do this one thing with gun control and then gets elected and, of course, tightens gun control. And then Hollis is like, why would anybody want to vote another grant that's going to do that? And Melly's like, I am not my husband's keeper. I will do what I want to do. What my husband does is not me. If he wants to do that, it's his problem. I am my own person. I am my own mind. I am Melly Grant. She pretty much head on gave a definite answer and was a great answer. And then it was time for Susan Ross to give her answer. Of course, Susan Ross, everyone thinks she's just going to bomb, but she comes off with a really good story about her husband being killed in Afghanistan trying to protect pipelines for companies such as Hollis Doyle. And we all know about a lot of government contractors going in these Middle Eastern countries and getting rich and big over oil and so forth. But anyway, she talks about that and how her husband was killed, and she was like, she had just spoken up and say this is ridiculous, this is disastrous, why is her husband even there protecting pipelines, what is the point? And it's just for these companies to get richer and richer. Maybe her husband would be alive, and she won big points for it, and she ended up winning that particular debate. Even Sarah Langston gave her points. I mean, the press did. Melly is devastated by her loss, and so is Olivia, and Melly is like, what am I going to do now? And Olivia decides, you know what, she is going to use the information that she got from Alex Vargas to wipe out Susan Ross. And this is really strange from Olivia. Olivia is the type of person that wants to win at all costs. Olivia goes to Ronnie and says, Ronnie, I want you to come out about who you are. I want you to tell the world that you are Casey's father, and I will help you. You just got to take a DNA test. Let's prove it. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. She's a good lady. She's a good woman, and I'm not going to do that. She's going to be president of the United States. And Olivia's mad about it, but she gives him an ultimatum and she walks out. Huck is really just not for it. Huck is kind of like, you know what, I don't know if this is a good idea. You're going after children. This is something that Olivia shouldn't be doing. And Quinn's like, you just need to support Liv and let's just move on. So I could see there's a family quarrel within OBA, but there's always been a family quarrel within OBA. So anyways, next thing that we see Susan in her office, and David's not there, but she's pissed off at David. She's just kind of like, I don't want to be around him. I don't even want him at all. But David, of course, goes there, professes his love, says he wants to be with her, and he'll do whatever she wants. She's just so angry at him. Of course, Lizzie Snake comes in and was like, listen, I've got you guys doing a whole bunch of interviews, holding hands and all sorts of stuff. And in the end of that Republican debate, David and, of course, Susan were holding hands and hugging and stuff like that. It was nothing more than just a prop thing to do, but she had to do it because it's going to make the American people like her. But anyhow, Susan's just pissed off at David, and David is like willing to do just about anything to get him to forgive her. But Susan's really sticking to her guns with this. I thought by now, knowing the Susan that I thought I knew, she would forgive David, but this is a different Susan. I'm really liking this. I've always loved her, but this tough, strong bitch Susan is working for me as well. Now on Cyrus' side, Cyrus is trying to get Frankie Vargas to be president, and his brother Alex is the one that gave all that bad information about Susan to Olivia, and Olivia gave him information about Edison. Frankie's like, don't use his information about Edison being some pill popping addict from back in the day. Alex releases the information anyways, and now it's all over the press that Edison was a pill popping addict. He checked into this particular drug place and blah blah blah. Edison's watching this with Papa Pope, and Edison is pissed. And Papa Pope's like, wait a minute, I thought this was taken care of. And Edison's like, your daughter leaked this. You need to control your daughter. You need to go find your daughter. You need to take her down. And that was the worst thing you could say to Papa Pope, because he's like, who the heck are you talking to me? Because I'm boss. Papa Pope is boss. I don't care what anybody says. He is boss. And he's telling Edison, I'm boss. You don't tell me what to do. I will fix this, but don't you ever talk to me like that. And don't you ever talk to my daughter. Pretty much, I could feel like in the back of Papa Pope's mind, he's sitting there saying, that's my girl. That's my girl. I really do feel him saying that she did what I would do. She's nothing more than a mini female version of me, which Olivia is. And I'm proud of her, but I'm going to go fix this bullshit that she just did. So that was really intricate moment right there. So that was fun to watch completely. No matter what happens, Olivia is still his daughter, and Papa Pope is still going to be there to protect her. So that was a really interesting. So what happens? Papa Pope goes and fixes anything. The doctor at the hospital comes out and said it's a complete lie that Edison was there. He is not a pill popper. So it makes Alex look like a fool. It makes his whole entire team look like a fool. But it makes Cyrus look good. So anyways, Alex goes to Olivia and was like, you fool, you set me up. And she was like, that's your problem. You should have handled things. But it made her think that she really needs to go working on Susan Ross' issue. She goes back to the jail and says, Ronnie, if you don't do this, if you don't take this test, DNA test, and side with us against Susan, we're going to make sure you spend an extra 5 years, and we're going to set you up for drug smuggling. We're going to set you up for pill popping. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. And she was like, Quinn, you got my back. We can do this. And Quinn is, yeah, but they're looking like, damn, Olivia, you really did go crazy on this. The guy, Ronnie, is scared, and he agrees to do whatever they tell him. And Huck is like, we can't do this, but no one's listening to Huck. So anyways, they get the DNA test, and it proves that Susan's daughter is Ronnie. And Olivia is so happy. She's like, good, put it out there. Leak it to the press. Leak it to everybody. And she leaves. Huck's like, we're not doing it. Quinn's like, we have to. Huck's like, this is a line that even Olivia would never cross. She's destroying a family. She's destroying her daughter, who has his good memories of her father and only memories. We can't do this. And he was like, we have to do something to help her. So what do? They bring in the big guns. Quinn goes to Abby, who goes to Fitz, and they all pretty much over at OPA office, and it's almost kind of a sneak attack on Liv. Liv's like, I can't believe this. It's like an ambush, right? So they got it, and they ambush Liv pretty much, and then Fitz and Olivia do their talk or screaming match. Pretty much. And it's funny thing is the first thing Fitz says is like, I'm here because I want to keep it real. Like, it's weird seeing Fitz talk about I want to keep it real. Like, that's so slang talk, but that's what he does. So he's like keeping it real. And Olivia's like, okay, fine. What do you want to talk about? So Fitz is like, listen, I know what you're trying to do, basically, but you shouldn't do it. We should be different now. I'm trying to be a different man. I'm trying to be a better man. Why don't you be a better person and not use this stuff against Susan? And Liv is mad. She's screaming at him, so you're trying to shame me into not doing my job. This is my job. This is what I got to do. It's what I need to do. And she's yelling at him. It's like, you have the audacity to make me look bad, and you've done some crazy stuff. This is when I think Olivia becomes so hypocritical. She's like, Susan lies. Susan's a liar. She's been lying to many people. Liv, you lied. You've been lying from day one. Like, everything she has done is based on a lie. I mean, it felt weird hearing Liv say, hey, Susan is this and that. And I'm like, Liv, you have no business to talk. She's attacking Fitz for his morality, but Liv, you don't exactly wear the white, and she's never worn the white hat for the longest time. So Fitz brings up defiance that he doesn't want Susan to be the victim of defiance, and Liv is yelling and screaming at him. It's like, you were not the victim, you were participating in the whole defiance thing. And if you can't remember defiance, you need to go back and watch season 1 and season 2 and season 3 to understand defiance, because that's an entire hour-long conversation right there. So anyways, they're yelling at each other, they're screaming at each other. No one's getting there. Everyone's hitting their points, hitting each other below the belt, but the conversation doesn't end well. Fitz pretty much leaves, and Liv is just mad at Abby and Quinn. But you know what? Olivia needed that. She was turned into this crazy psychotic person and was really just getting on my nerves. I mean, tell her off. But I love OLITZ conversation. When they're making love or when they're learning each other, that is probably my highlight of watching the show. I love the way they interact with each other. Goldwyn and Washington are like what I call like acting soulmates. When they're in a scene together, it's like fireworks. I mean, they are incredible. So that was a pretty good scene, and I think it really did get her mind thinking about what she should or shouldn't do. So later on, we see the team preparing for Ronnie to make a statement, but we find out that Ronnie pretty much has hung himself. He pretty much would rather kill himself than go through humiliating Susan, which I think that probably also in a way got Olivia to think. I actually blame his death on Olivia. She pressured him so much, and that what she did was pretty much a Papa Pope thing, something that I always thought she never wanted to do, but here she was doing it. So anyways, Fitz is talking to Susan and was like, listen, Susan, what do you want to do? You know, Liv may go through with putting this public about your, situation with Ronnie. And she's like, I can't let it happen. And she's like, I can't go through, I can't admit it. Because he's like, why don't you just admit it? She's like, I can't do that. It's going to ruin my presidency. So Fitz is like, you know what? Let me tell you a story, my story, and I don't want things to end up for her to end up the way it ended up for him. And I'm pretty sure he's telling her the story about defiance and about his rigged election, because according to him, he didn't earn his first election. He did the second, but not the first. And he's pretty much telling her that story. So while all of this is going on in the White House, we still have Mellie. So Mellie's going out on the tour. She's about to get on Jimmy Kimmel. And of course, Marcus Walker was assigned to keep babysit her, and that's something he did not want to do because he doesn't like Mellie. She's a privileged bitch according to him. But he goes with her, and part of the thing that she has to do with the Jimmy Kimmel is read mean tweets about her. She didn't want to do it. But Marcus convinced her, if you want to be likable, if you want people to look at you and say, hey, you are one of us, you've got to do it. So she goes on Jimmy. She reads some of the most nastiest tweets about her. People are laughing. She's smiling. She's becoming more likable. She really changed her appeal towards Marcus, and it kind of ends well, Last scene of the episode is Liv invites Fitz back to the White House, and she was like, hey, listen, let's do this. I'm going to fight to the death for my person. You're going to fight for Susan. She's going to fight for Mellie. But let's do it right. Let's do it fair. And let's do it without the mudslinging and without the dirt. Let's just try a good, honest campaign. And Fitz is like, hey, why not? Let's drink to it. So they drink bourbon to it, and they're smiling, and they're like, hey, let's toast to a really good, interesting campaign. And that was it. This, I have to say, was a really good episode. I really enjoyed, again, the banter between Fitz and Liv. They're becoming friends again, but in a different way. It's platonic, but it's a friendship. I really like those two can still be in a scene together or be in a room together and just be friends. There's an interesting thing going on with Alex and Olivia. There's a little bit of chemistry there. They're two of the same people in a way. Maybe because Alex is just so gorgeous. Oh, I don't know. But those two, every time they're in the screen together, I also get a little light up. I don't know if anything is going to go there with it, but I like that. And also seeing Huck. Huck also became the face of reason. When did Huck ever become a face of reason and say, hey, we can't do this. We can't destroy somebody. It might be because he misses his family and his son, and he was thinking on that aspect. They might not wear the white hat, but there's certain things that even Huck realizes they just can't go through. So anyways, good episode. Next week, I think it's going to be more about the debates, but something else crazy is going to happen next week. I have no idea, but from the previews, it seems like Olivia is going to do something ridiculous. So far, Scandal has been pretty good. I'm really, really liking this direction and the writing that they're doing and all. So anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews. Until next week episode, enjoy and thanks for watching.